Students, welcome to the online teaching video, subject social science. Today we are going to read the geography chapter, part 2, that is chapter 2, land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources. We have read a lot about the land use earlier. Then we have read about the soil profiles, factors of the soil formation, degradation of the soil, conservation measures. Then we have read about the water, then availability of the water, problems of water availability, conservation of the water resources and lot. So today we are going to start with a very interesting part of this whole chapter, that is natural vegetation and wildlife. Let us see what it contains. See, natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere that we call as biosphere. In this biosphere, living beings are interrelated and we can say interdependent on each other for survival. This life supporting system is known as ecosystem. We call it as ecosystem. So vegetation and wildlife are valuable resources, and plants provide us with the timber, give shelters to the animals, produce oxygen, we breathe, protects the soil, so essential for growing crops, acts as shelter belts, help in storage of underground water, so give us fruits, then nuts, latex, turpentine, oil, then gum, medicinal plants are also there, the paper that we get from the plants, and that is so essential for our studies. There are innumerable uses of plants. Okay, that you can add some more also. In the same time, wildlife also includes the animals, birds, insects as well as aquatic form of life. What is the aquatic form of life? That those animals living in water. Okay, so they provide us with the milk, meat, hides and wool. Insects like bees provides us honey, that we know every morning we take honey with lime water to keep us healthy, help in pollination of the flowers and have an important role to play and as decomposers in the ecosystem. Okay, so the birds feed on insects and act as decomposers as well. Now, vulture, due to its ability to feed on dead livestock, is called a scavenger. And it is considered a vital cleanser of the environment. So, animals, big or small, all are integral to maintaining the balance in the ecosystem. So, we need both flora and fauna to maintain our whole of the ecosystem, maintaining the balance of the ecosystem. Next, distribution of the natural vegetation. What is the distribution of natural vegetation? That is how natural vegetation or how the vegetation is distributed all through the earth. That is, the growth of vegetation depends primarily on the temperature and moisture. The major vegetation types of the world are grouped as forest, grasslands, shrubs and tundra. In areas of heavy rainfall, huge trees may thrive. The forests are thus associated with areas having abundant water supply. So, as the amount of moisture decreases, the size of the trees and their density reduces. So, short stunted trees and grasses grow in the region of moderate rainfall, forming the grassland of the world. And the thorny bushes or thorny shrubs, and they grow in the dry areas of the low rainfall. Mainly they are seen in the desert areas. If you go to the desert areas, you will see the thorny shrubs over there. They are the cactus, and this type of plants are mainly grown over there. In such areas, plants have deep roots and leaves with thorny and waxy surface. reduce the loss of moisture through the transpiration. So this is the characteristics of this desert plants or arid region plants. Now tundra vegetation. The tundra vegetation of cold polar region comprise of mosses and lichens. Have you seen mosses? They will look from far you will look like colored flowers, but if you move near you will find they are the separate plants, individual plants over there. Now forests are broadly divided or classified as evergreen and deciduous depending on which or when they shed their leaves. Evergreen forests do not shed their leaves in a particular season to conserve loss of moisture through transpiration. Now even we can say both type of forest are farther, and rather we can say both type of forest that is are further classified as tropical or temperate based on their location in different latitudes. Now conservation of, we are supposed to read the natural vegetation and wildlife conservation. So we have to conserve our plants and animals. Why? Because unless and until we conserve the forest and animals, the ecosystem, the balance of the ecosystem will get disturbed. So forests are our wealth and plants give shelter to the animals together. They maintain the ecosystem. Changes of the climate and human interference can cause the loss of natural habitats for the plants and animals. Many species have become vulnerable or endangered on some of the verge of this extinction. Now deforestation, soil erosion, construction activities, then forest fires, tsunamis and landslides are some of the human, and they are also called the human and natural factors which accelerate the process of extinction. So there are many processes by which the extinction of the flora and fauna can be done or can be happened in this atmosphere. So one of the major concerns is the poaching, which result in the sharp decline in the number of particular species. Hunting is poaching and hunting, they are the one of the now we can say that one of the major concerns of the poaching is the result in dark decline in the number of particular species. The animals are poached, collection and illegal trades of the hides, skins, the nails, teeth, horns as well as feathers. Some of these animals are mainly, we can say that the tiger, lion, deer, elephant, rhino, peacock, ostrich, blackbird, leopard, these are the very animals which are endangered or you can say in the way of extinction. So to protect this, various conservation methods has been taken by the initiative by the government. We can say national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biospheres, reserves are made to protect our natural vegetation and wildlife. The conservation of the creeks, lakes and the wetlands is necessary to save the precious resource from depletion. So natural park क्या होता है? What is natural parks? Are natural area designated to protect the ecological integrity of the one or more ecosystem for the present and the future generations. Next slide. Conservation. There are more methods that are adapted by the government to conserve our both floras and faunas and the wildlife, and we can say the conservation of the various species, both flora and fauna. That is awareness program for social forestry, that is Bana Mahotsava, should be encouraged at the regional community level. School children should be encouraged for bird watch and visit the nature camps. And animals in India, killing lion, tigers, deers, great Indian bastards and peacocks is illegal. and international, that is convention sites has been established in the list, that is sites has been established that lists several species of animals and birds in which trade is prohibited. So conservation of the plants and animals is an ethical duty of every citizen. We should conserve our animals so that we can have a good atmosphere and maintain our ecological balance to live in. So animals need to be protection. Just now we said the deers, look, this deers are looking so beautiful in the forest, but if it is killed or hunted and poached, then it will time will come, it will come under extinction. It's a picture of the herd of elephants in Kaziranga National Park, so beautiful. Then conservation of the wildlife, the tigers, the leopards, then bullocks, rhino, and so on. Thus, some important national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, we can name them: Corbett National Park, Uttarakhand, then Ranthambore National Park, Rajasthan, Bandipur National Park, Karnataka, Ladio, Ghana National Park, then Bharatpur, Rajasthan, Nagarhole National Park, Karnataka, Sariska National Park, Rajasthan. Apart from this, there are so many national parks and sanctuaries are there, and wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserve to protect our natural vegetation. That is all for today. Thank you, and this is the end part of this chapter. So we ended the chapter 2 from your geography. Thank you.